Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching us. I wish I worked at the port in Seychelles, but I didn't. But thank you for the introduction, Steve. I'm conscious that we are constraints in terms of time, so I'm going to dive straight into it. I'm going to start sharing my presentation, and I will try not to deter myself or take long on the topics that have already been covered by the previous panelists. And I would like to thank Philippe, Ineda. They did a great job describing our environment. So they made my life easier. To start with, I'm going to contextualize a bit the project Mozambique LNG in the framework, the legal framework we are working under. In Mozambique, as you know, we have a petroleum law, we have petroleum law regulations, and then we have a special decree law, the 2/2014 of 2nd of December, that provides special regulations for the project in Area 1 that we are conducting right now. And this, from this document, that we can draw most of the local content directives that applied to our project. In the petroleum law and the petroleum regulations, we have mainly principles that direct the local content in general. And one of the main provisions that is important for this conversation we are having is the one that indicates that along with the POD, the plan of development, the concessionaires or the operator has to submit a local content plan. And in this local content plan, we have three main pillars that should be addressed. And when I say addressed, I'm talking about having precise plans on how to execute to promote those. We are talking about employment and training of Mozambicans. We are talking about provision of goods and services from local companies, and we are talking about the Mozambican-owned ones and registered in Mozambique. The project needs to promote the inclusion of these economic actors in this value chain, and capacity building that I'm going to talk a bit more in detail a couple of slides more. So later, I mean. When it comes to employment opportunities, we have a view, and I think that Philip already touched on it, since that's his area of expertise. He made some good points that we have a lot of talent. We have young people in Mozambique that are capable, and they just need the right opportunity to get access to the tools and the training so that they can join this industry. And I'm talking about the petroleum, the oil and gas industry. And that's what we aim to do with a set of tailored programs that should create these opportunities so that they can later join the project. When it comes to the supply of goods and services by Mozambicans, we understand that we have a country that is still developing its industries. And as such, we have to play an important role, at least in the sectors that we have this potential to promote the development. We should not assume that if a certain sector is not yet ready to deliver on the quality or with the timing or the precision that we need, we just need to rule out that sector. We need to work with plans that allow these companies to grow. And one of the main ideas that we think can bring a change in this sector is incentivizing the small and medium enterprises to join capacity building programs tailored for them, for this industry, and also to create partnerships. And I'm talking about partnerships amongst these companies, the local ones, be it for joint ventures when they want to bid or in associations, sector-specific associations that can make it easier for them to get access to options for funding, leverage for regulations, etc., etc. The other vertical that can be important, and Ineda, you touched on that, is welcoming foreign companies to invest in certain sectors in Mozambique, but making sure that the transfer of know-how is part of this process so that we can have local companies absorbing this know-how that can be brought and growing in their roles in the day industry. And then we talk about the development of activities with the local communities. And here we now place a very special interest in the local communities from Cabo Delgado, which is the province in the northern part of Mozambique, where we have our project in the peninsula of Afungi. So the idea is that the project can connect with the local communities, and they can be part of the value chain at the level that they can be involved, and also to have a strong plan to increase their participation over time. So these are the objectives, the general ones that were set for our local content. I chose to bring here an overview of a tool that is our registration platform, Achilles. And this is one of the points of connection that we have with our market because all companies that are welcome to provide goods and services to the project, they have to register here. So with this tool, one of the leverage that we have is that we can track and measure to what extent we are having local Mozambican-owned companies involved with the project, and then have an assessment on the rate of success that these companies have when they tender to certain sectors. And also then, based on this assessment, be able to prepare tailored trainings. We are talking about business to business, contracting workshops, and other programs that address exactly the areas where we can feel that the local companies have shortcomings when they were tendering for opportunities. So, so far we have more than 4,000 registered companies in the platform, of which we are talking about more than half being Mozambican registered companies. Now I'm going to also touch a bit on other pillar that is very important in our view for the local content optimization in Mozambique, and we are talking about capacity building. And in this vertical, I'm going to highlight the three agreements that we established just in 2022 that aim to continue this engagement with the government to promote the training opportunities for the youth. The first one was in January, 31st of January, so earlier this year, and it was a frame agreement with the government of Mozambique, in which under the auspices of Programa Único, which is the local content plan drafted by the government, we aim to support all training initiatives that can be aligned also with the Mozambique LNG objectives. And we hope to train a minimum 2,500 youth in the next 5 years in connection to the project in to the entire country of Mozambique. Then in February, we signed an MOU with a training institution, EFPLAC, that provides vocational training in Pemba, Cabo Delgado. And this MOU is more circumscribed to the Pemba province. We have the target in 5 years to train 2,500 young boys and girls from this province. And we are talking about vocational training, so short-term courses of 3 to 4 months that provide opportunities to welders, carpenters, plumbers, and civil construction graduates inter alia. And with these skills, we understand that they can be easily absorbed by the existing initiatives in the province and by oil and gas companies altogether. So we don't expect that the entirety of the graduates are only for the oil and gas industry or for the project Mozambique LNG. So with this project alone, we already trained about 200 students. They graduated from the first cycle, and we have second cycles ongoing in Pemba and Palma. More recently, on the 17th of November, we signed an MOU, this one with the Industrial and Commercial Institute of Pemba. And the commitment with this MOU is to train 390 students in the next 12 months. So this is slightly different from the previous MOU because with this one, we are aiming to longer duration courses, and we are privileging those competences that we believe they are more close to the project. So we have courses on processing of gas. We have industrial electricity, and then we have industrial mechanics, and we understand that those can easily connect to the project, and, to the subcontractors' needs. And also we will be training in shorter duration courses for the hospitality sector, about 100 students in the same period. We understand that this is an MOU that is going to be renewed over time, and we will continue training. Then I would highlight the opportunities that we are trying to get together under Capacita MOS. Capacita MOS is the program developed by Mozambique LNG, basically to be the umbrella and house all the local content capacity building related initiatives. We understand that having this platform, we can have a more strategic approach to the kind of impact we want to have in capacity building. And also it will make easier for future implementation partners and collaborators or other institutions that are in the same realm of activities to partner up with the project. I'm going to also highlight one program that we have been running this 2022 here, that it was the certification, ISO certification in the province of Cabo Delgado, that allowed us to provide the certification of quality 9001 ISO to 11 companies of the province. Some of the panelists that preceded me spoke about the importance of upskilling some of the competencies of the provinces to make of the enterprises from Mozambique and in Cabo Delgado province, so that they can have the requirements to increase the success rate they have when they connect to the opportunities generated by a project like Mozambique LNG and others that we mentioned here. So we understand that this is a program that we are going to continue because it makes a huge difference in the chances the local companies have, first, to improve the quality of the services and the goods that they produce and supply, and also of being able to welcome partnerships with foreign companies or win bids when they exist. Being very conscious of time, I'm going to move on to bring also some results. I thought that it was interesting for this conversation to highlight a market study that we have conducted this year in the province of Cabo Delgado, because here we can have an X-ray of this province, and mutatis mutandi, this can be also a good view into what Mozambique can offer in terms of supply of services by the local companies, and also how the market behaves in terms of the main actors when it comes to training, when it comes to provision of services, and also for the demand. In this market study that we conducted, and we partnered up with Deloitte for this one, and we also had immense support from the government and the participation of the institutions, the public institutions, the relevant ones. We focused in three sectors. We are talking about civil construction, transports and logistics, and general services. And we try to understand the business environment, the capacity that the local enterprises have in these sectors, and identify the gaps. So the outcome of this market study that we can gladly make available for the ones interesting, and we understand that is a good read to understand how Mozambique operates, the markets operates in Mozambique. You can have indications such as the mapping of a company's database. We have interacted with more than 1,000 companies in a period of 6 months. We made also quantitative and qualitative analysis of the ecosystems of these three sectors. We made also an assessment in terms of skills existing for the workforce, and also the offer that vocational training institutions have. And also interesting was the mapping of investment funds in the province, because we understand that sometimes these gaps, the programs that exist to address them, can have a positive overlap when institutions that have the same goals can partner up, thus providing more robust propositions and solutions to the to Mozambique or to a given sector or market. So I won't get into much detail. This is a market study that we understand is fresh, so to say. So the information here was gathered with the collaboration of the private sector, the key actors in the private sector. We are talking about the associations. We are talking about the main companies. We are talking about institutions from the public sector as well. And of course, we also had the good participation of the government providing the strategies and the guidelines that they have for the priorities for the province and for Mozambique in the upcoming years. So we understand it's a good read. So in a very fast-paced and summarized approach, this is our contribution for this conversation. I hope we can still have time to address some follow-up questions. Thank you, Steve.